All right, so now the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, which they're not calling SmackDown anymore because they wanted to make it more of a pain in the ass for me. Ziggler, Christian, Tensai, Tyson Kidd, Damien Sandow, Santino Marella, Cody Rhodes, and Sin Cara. And didn't want
And
like
that
any
shit
of
was
these
alright.
people to win except for Ziggler and Cody. So I'm really happy that Ziggler won it. But I, I don't know. These Money in the Bank matches, they seem like they keep getting like worse and worse. They're not as entertaining as they used to be to me. I don't know if it's like the issue where they don't want to because they have it on the pay per view in the two matches. They don't want to do something too crazy in the first one, and they want to save it for the last one. And then the last one, they're like, well, they already had enough in the first one. Let's not bother with this. Or I don't know what's going on, but they need to step it up for next year because it's such a good fucking pay per view idea. But they come out like they're kind of half assing it sometimes. Like they might do. They did the Sin Cara power bomb through the ladder, but they did that exact same thing last year. And they'll have like Tyson Kidd tried to do a couple things here and there, but it's not as crazy as it used to be. But they're still fucking up. That's the thing. If you want to be safer, be safer. But if you want to be safer about it, you actually have to be safer. You can't do something that is less risky, but do it in a way that creates more risk than if you would have done the riskier thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. The fact is, a lot of the botches were actually coming from Sin Cara.
It
Tell you the
was
truth.
Sin Cara, yeah. He was just botch city during this pay per view. I mean, like Dace. I mean, we were watching the whole thing, and everybody that we were watching it with, we were like, "Oh fuck, he almost killed that person. He almost killed this person." Like, how many times did we think that Sin Cara was gonna just like, instantly get injured?
I know. The best sell of the night though had to be Ziggler when he was thrown over the friggin' announce table and landed on that chair with like his shoulder. He looked like he died and then won it. Like after that, I like that part. I thought that ending was good.
Yeah. Now I didn't hate Tensai's performance in this like I thought I was going to, but
Yeah, but he was mostly used as the power guy,
yeah.
literally.
And I
He
really
was,
wish that they could have used like Jack Swagger or something like that for it instead.
yeah, because he looked out of place. That was the issue. Tensai didn't look like he was, ready for that sort of thing. Um,
Even
and
Sandow,
Kid,
who hasn't been wrestling that long on SmackDown, looked more ready for the match than Tensai.
yeah, I agree with you on that one. And it's because Tensai, aka Albert, he's
Sucks.
not in shape. Yeah, he's not in shape. He looks terrible, and he just, I don't know. It in the end, they could easily, if they're going to use him, they've got to use him properly. Um, they've got to say to him, look, go to the gym, work out a bit, get your cardio levels up, start performing to the level you were supposed to be performing in Japan before you came over here. Don't perform like shit because he's really just. They're trying to use a guy as a power guy who's not really a power guy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like every once in a while you see Ryback pick somebody up that he kind of struggles with, a little bit. Like Tyler Rex, he had trouble with Tyler Rex.
No, it's like trying to get Ryback to do lucha. That's not gonna happen.
Speaking of the whole lucha thing, with flipping around and everything, Tyson Kidd was supposed to be the guy that everybody's like, let's pay attention to what he's doing in this match, and I was actually a little bit disappointed.
I was too, actually.
I mean, overall, I thought that this was a pretty decent match, even though I was saying earlier that they're getting worse and worse, and I don't think that this match is up to the other Money in the Banks that we've had in the past, but it still was pretty decent. I mean, I liked watching the match, but I was expecting Tyson Kidd to pull at least one like wow thing off, and the only one that stuck in my mind as being like the big Tyson Kidd thing was when he jumped off and did that like power bomb kind of botch with Ziggler. Which that was like they've kind of done stuff like that before. So I mean, I wanted him to do some crazy Shelton Benjamin shit or something that Morrison would pull out of his ass, and I was just a little disappointed.
Yeah, I agree because they were boosting Kid up to be this threat, this like underdog in this match, someone to watch out for, and he just kind of got overshadowed by everybody else. Lost in the shuffle kind of. which I didn't want to happen. You know, he did okay, but he could have done miles better than what he did.
He did at the level that I would think a mid-card Tyson Kidd would do.
Yeah, which is a shame because he was given the opportunity to perform at a higher level than that. And when you can't, I don't believe Kidd could not perform at that level. I believe he could have performed at that level and above, but it's more or less. I think there was too many people in the match anyway, to tell you the truth. But you could have done so much better.
I think the whole match would have been a lot better if you wouldn't have had Tensai and if you would have replaced him with Jack Swagger, and if instead of having Santino in it, now I like Santino, but it wasn't worth having him in it to do that spot of being afraid of the ladder heights.
Yeah.
Completely ignored later. Fuck
Yeah. So to me, you take out Tensai, you take out Santino, and maybe even take out Tyson Kidd and replace him with Justin Gabriel, and you get Jack Swagger in it and Zack Ryder, and it would have been a much better match.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Because I remember when Bryan won the Money in the Bank briefcase, that was a far better match for SmackDown than what they had.
Now, what do you guys think is going to happen with Ziggler? Because he tried to cash in on Sheamus, but now it seems like they're kind of heading towards the Jericho feud, which is a stall, of course. I mean, because Jericho doesn't have the title.
Well, I think that's a good idea because they're looking at maybe feuding him with Jericho and giving Ziggler a bit of an extra rub before they pull the trigger on him as world champ, which is what they should do. Because God knows he needs a rub. He needs to, move his way up to upper mid card, which at the moment he's sort of dwindling at mid card, lower card status. So they really need to do some damage control on Ziggler. And I think a feud with Jericho and maybe a feud with other mid card, upper, mid card talents could probably help him. Just, keep it going for a while like what they did with Bryan and then pull the trigger eventually. Because with Daniel Bryan, they worked a lot of magic on the guy. And look at him now. He's one of the company's top heels. And I believe Ziggler can probably eclipse that as long as they do it properly.
I'd like to see still. I think that they dropped the ball when it comes to Jack Swagger. I think that they should have Swagger turn babyface and feud with Ziggler and put Ziggler over more. Because, I mean, Swagger's already jobbing out. But if you put Swagger in a babyface role and you have him against Ziggler, not only does that give Swagger somebody to boost himself up with the new gimmick change, but then it gives Ziggler somebody to beat down and look more powerful in the process.
No, I agree with you on that one.
And then I really wanted Miz and Jericho to feud, with one of them being babyface, but I wanted Miz to be babyface more so, and they're not even getting into that, so whatever. But I'm up with Ziggler winning the title at any time. I would rather have him as a champion than Sheamus.
I agree.
What do you think, Dace?
Same thing. I really like to see him finally get a title run. Sheamus to me is just boring.
Oh, he's like mayonnaise.
And the way I don't want them to do this, and what I'm sort of thinking that they're going to do, is have Ziggler cash in around the Survivor Series time and drop it around Royal Rumble and just make it like one of those 2-month test reign kind of things.
Nah, he needs a proper, long reign, and I think they can do that with him on SmackDown. Because no, they don't really need to give the belt to Del Rio. They don't really need to keep it on Sheamus. They just need a champion that they can actually revolve the brand around. It's what I was hoping they would do with Bryan until he lost the belt at WrestleMania 29 in a very ridiculous fashion.
I think we need Ziggler to cash in a little bit before or at Night of Champions.
Yeah.
And then he needs to retain the title either up until Royal Rumble or up until WrestleMania.
I agree. Because they need to literally feed faces to him. Get a nice little feud going on, a few storylines. They could even take a page out of TNA's book with Robert Roode. I can't believe I just said that. I felt dirty.
I'd like to see Ziggler in one of those positions where he wins the title around Night of Champions, and Christian can drop the Intercontinental title, maybe to. Well, I keep wanting Damien
Is that right?
Sandow. I want Sandow to beat Santino for the U.S. title. I think that feud makes perfect sense. I'm not 100% sure about who I could put in my mind to beat Christian for the IC title.
Is that right?
What, it's babyface against babyface or turn heel?
Have Christian turn heel, or have Ryder versus Christian, babyface versus babyface, or insert a third person like Swagger in there, and then just have a triple threat where Ryder wins.
Well, you know what? The one idea that I was having was if Daniel Bryan is going to stay in the spotlight, but he's not necessarily going to stay in the WWE title hunt or the World Heavyweight title run, have him beat Christian for the Intercontinental title, and that'll boost up the Intercontinental title a lot. And Christian against Bryan will be a decent feud. And then you could have
a mid-card title as well. Then,
and then you could have Christian be the first person that you feed to Dolph Ziggler.
That's a good idea.
Which means
even have Bryan inserted in there as part of their feud, so it intertwines a little bit. And then once like Christian gets beaten again, Bryan can sort of branch off defending the IC title against, I don't know, someone like Ryder.
Yeah, a Ryder or Sin Cara or whoever the fuck they want to do.
Oh, Sin Cara, no.
But
Sin Cara should stay far away from a title.
That probably is
kind of see him as a tag champion if they just pop him like in a credible tag team, but no. No singles goal for Mr. Botchamania.
No, well, he wouldn't get it, but feed him to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
That's probably about it that we could talk about for the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank match, but we can move into the World Heavyweight Championship match itself in the next part and talk a little bit about how of a disappointment I thought that was.
My God, that match was,
so
that was exhausting.
Part 5, World Heavyweight title.